Yeah.
Yeah, he printed flyers for some He-Man get together, and that's what he printed them on.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Grumpy Old Protagonists.
What's up? I don't care what you call me, as long as you feed me.
No.
Don't call me late for dinner.
Oh man. Hang on.
You about got it nailed down, Chuck?
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So
Jim,
how you guys
punch it.
doing tonight? How you doing, JT?
Hot. Other than that, just same old, same old. Sitting there going through the hot days and watching the storms at night. It's been like almost every night for the last week now, after midnight. But I wouldn't say there was a strange pattern or anything going on. No, not me. How about you, Jim?
I've been doing awesome. I haven't had to leave the house in 2 days, and I'm liking it.
I'm scared to ask. Did you change your drawers?
I do change my drawers.
Okay, that's all I needed to know, bro. Worry about your health.
I can get away with wearing the same shirt for a couple days. I only wear it for a couple hours when I'm on here with you guys. But my drawers, I wear 24/7, so I gotta change those. And I'm very funky when it comes to that. And I won't share my drawers with you. I might give you a clean pair out of my dresser, but I won't share my drawers.
Explain to me though how that dipstick works on them.
The dipstick
for the oil change, the skid mark.
Oh no, I don't do skid marks. I learned how to wipe my ass.
Okay. But you, Chuck, how you been doing?
Oh, just staying dry. We haven't been getting. We're about 100 miles east of where all the flooding was happening, and they're still under flash flood watch, I believe.
Oh, I was worried you were going to say you were in your soupy sales phase.
Nah.
Yeah, but are you in an area that could flood?
Sorry?
Are you in an area that could flood?
Actually, no.
Okay.
No, we're up on one of the hills in town. Hey, Brian and Marcus and Devin.
Brian, Marcus, Devin.
Howdy, everybody.
How y'all doing?
Who? Boxers are brief. I'm a tidy whitey from way back.
Yeah. So what are you vaping on tonight, JT?
Oh, I'm finishing up the same old. We started out with the Pulse V2. Wow, cool. Pulse V2 with the blaze on the recurve on top. And it's doing the what is that called? The Match by Candy King, kind of like the Sour Patch Kids. And they're pretty.
That's nice.
They're pretty.
Still got the bowl probe doing the mixed berry Candy King. And no, they are not sponsoring this episode. And we got the Gower with the bulk on top for all the last of the great ice. The Caliburn and two mouth to lungs. And what are you vaping on, brother Jim?
Well, not like you are. I put the Blaze Solo back on the guava, whatever you call it. I've got, of course, Brother George. That we got the Therion with the drop on top of it. The sand that kind of taken over for the Cthulhu, and then I did dig out the Blaze AIO this week, so I can honestly say I've been vaping on it. But that's about it for me.
I'm gonna have to break down and get me a Blaze, I guess. What are you vaping on, Chuck?
I don't know if I would actively seek it out. It's cool, but the San or the Cthulhu is just so much more compact and more protected. But Chuck, what are you vaping on?
Same old stuff, really. The Stubby 21 with the Ponte mesh burrow in it, and the Cthulhu with the Cthulhu thing inside. But this time, this is the way I wrapped it. I did 30 gauge twice with 2 separate wires, and then I just put the little legs in, and it vapes pretty nice like that. It's like 12 wraps, but it's got the ramp up time of like 4 wraps.
Wow.
Well, as long as it didn't make a change your accent.
It's like a parallel coil or something like that. I think yeah. I remember back in the day. See, I think we've all fallen into, we're just old and set in our ways. This is what I like. This is what I always come back to. I play with my other stuff during the day, but nothing ever sticks. I always go back to this.
Yeah, Marcus, I think Dylan did get deported.
Hey, hippie.
Blaze is okay, nothing special. Brian says that.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Brett.
Oh,
hey,
thank you, Brad. We appreciate you. Yeah, has anybody talk to Nick over after the holiday?
I don't know. Hey, Bob. Happy Hippies here. So, has anybody talked to Nick lately?
I'm just curious. I mean, I don't like to think somebody fell off the face of the earth and we didn't know.
Yeah.
But he's a weeble.
Yeah, he'll be back. Let's see. First thing I'd like to start off with is how the dinosaurs went extinct. Let's see here. And the
Be
sound.
prepared to be blown away.
It's all sciencey and stuff.
Nope. Let's start that again. Okay, this is according to the Flat Earthers, how the dinosaurs went extinct. You got your sun and your moon spinning around there. Here comes an asteroid. Dun 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 dun, hitting the flat Earth. Oh my God! Bing! And they all go flying out.
Chuck, you're having way too much fun with that.
You know what? I forgot to show the fucking audience. Well, guys, you didn't miss anything. It wasn't that great.
Wow, that's like doing ass and saying, "Did you see that?"
Yeah. Come on, dude.
I can't believe I did that.
Do it again.
Yeah. Jeez, man.
Jeez, man. That's what we've come to know and love about you, man.
Okay, let's try this again, and this time I'm going to share the screen.
Biden's recent cancer diagnosis should remind all liberal women to get their yearly prostate exams.
That's a good PSA, Chuck.
Yeah, thank you.
Not bad advice.
So what's been going on? There's been a lot of rain, and it doesn't take very much at all for the Brazos River or the Guadalupe River basin to just fill up. It doesn't soak in, it just gets the surface wet and starts rolling.
Yeah, a lot of broken up rock from the heat. cracks in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Is it red dirt? Is it red dirt?
no, it's not. It's regular brown dirt, but it's not the gumbo that they have in North Texas. But it's
Yeah.
still mostly silt because it's been under a river for a long time. Even though the river was only like say this wide compared to this wide, which it was
Yeah.
after the flood.
They're like it does out in Arizona.
Sa- Almost exactly the same.
Well, it just hit New Mexico too.
Really?
Ruidoso.
That's all.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, it's been bad. Everybody's seen the news. I think you all know as much as I do about it by now. So the worst part were the girls that girls camp called Camp Mystic. The oldest ones were at the top of the hill, and as the ages went down, they were closer to the river.
No, the worst part was the fucking liberals that are coming out of just awful things they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
But nobody slapped him down when they was blaming what's his name, Hagee, for hurricanes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this time they did get jumped on because one of the things they were saying was that Trump wrecked the weather service by cutting so much money out of the budget, and that's not true. They were actually double staffed that night.
Yeah. Oh, the one that was the shittiest was them saying they didn't send out any warnings.
Nope.
People have been showing days worth of warnings before it happened.
Yep. They didn't
But
know.
the thing is,
Yeah. Go ahead.
you've had a lot more people from different states moving into Texas the last few years, and they're not used to that because what was it, 87 and 77?
Yeah.
They had the same kind of floods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exact same outcome.
Well, also,
So-
a lot of the phones in the area were down at that time. Phone service was out for some people, so even the ones that they make the terrible noise on your phone to wake you up in the middle of the night, that didn't go out to everybody because of that.
Well, yeah. Well, it was 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's not it. I mean, the phones weren't working.
Yeah,
So,
the phone's working, but it hit about 4 o'clock in the morning is
Yeah.
when it came in.
Yeah.
But the guy that owned Camp Mystic also perished.
yeah.
They said they found 2 girls holding hands and they had rosaries,
Yeah.
but they were pulling them alive from trees.
Mm-hmm.
And up the river, there was a boys' camp, and they were actually able to get out and help people pull them up higher to higher ground.
Yeah.
So, well, they said there's like 27 different camping areas around that area.
Yes. There's a lot of camping there. People come from all over the state to camp there.
It's like Blue River.
Mm-hmm.
Awful.
But a couple of years ago, the Mississippi was supposed to be drying up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and never saw a follow up on that.
And Brian says that they lost almost 10 people. They lost almost 10 people to flooding in the Wheeling, West Virginia area.
Yeah. Well, there was some flooding here, and North Carolina got hit with a hurricane.
Oh shit.
Sure is odd, all these different states away from each other like that having flooding. Just
Yeah.
strange thought.
Yeah.
Like down there near them camps. Or no, is okay. It's another story about the Tennessee Valley Authority.
Well,
Yeah.
You mentioned people stuck in trees. I've got a video on that. Here we go.
Yeah, so you can see what happened at around 8 o'clock this morning after the girl
Right there.
was swept all the way from Ingram all the way to Center Point, Texas. The homeowner here says he went out on his deck and he heard somebody screaming for help. And when he came out on his deck, he had to look way across the river. And when he did, he looked into the trees and he saw this woman being sheltered by a huge cypress tree. One limb had already been ripped off and another was about to be ripped off, but she had been in the tree for several hours at that point already because she was swept out of her campground, out of her tent at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And so he heard her screaming. He came out here. He started calling back to her. He said, "I hear you. I see you." He called for help. He didn't have any luck getting response from 911. So he actually went down the street, flagged down a law enforcement person, said, "Hey, there's a girl in a tree over here." They sent boats. They sent a couple of boats. They had to figure out a way to get the boats down to river level. And of course, the river was still high at that point. They got to her and she had to drop into the boat because by the time the boat got here, the water had receded 10 or 12 feet. They say she jumped from that tree and face planted into that rescue boat.
Yeah. So,
Imagine she didn't didn't care much about it by then.
Oh,
nope. Yeah, she was fine with that. Well, she was in her early 20s. I think she was about 20 or 22. So, it's cool. But some of those people had been dragged up to 20 miles downstream and still survived.
Yeah. Well, you heard about Austin, right?
No.
They decided, well, we probably don't need to be sending any help out there. And then they eventually got around to sending 3 swimmers. They were basically told to stand down.
Yeah, there was a lot of help out there. There were YouTube streamers out over the weekend, and they were saying that it was just too crowded. There was no way to get more help into the area. There wasn't room for everybody.
Yeah.
always room for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. Not everybody going down there is going to help. They want to get those clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it.
Looky-loos, as we used to call them.
Yep. Some of them. And the Veterans Administration is considering, change of pace here, is considering trying to make it legal for their doctors to prescribe marijuana for people with PTSD and some other problems.
Yeah. Well, the thing they've got with that is the federal law.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll talk about that. They're going to address it in this video.
And I think it's fine if they show progress with it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it just to get high like most of them do.
No.
Yeah.
Florida Senator Bill Nelson working to get veterans the right to go to the VA to be able to get medical marijuana prescriptions.
Right now, VA doctors are not allowed to prescribe it, but as 4 in Your Corner's Adam Pinsker explains, a change is one step closer.
Even though marijuana is legal in 31 states, including Florida, it cannot be prescribed at the federal level. That means doctors at the Veterans Administration cannot give it to patients, but that could change under a law proposed by Senator Bill Nelson.
No more opioids at all, not in my, and I was taking 4 to 6 a day.
Bill is one of dozens of...
A lot of these people are taking opioids right now in the states where weed's not legal, and it's killing them because it's addictive as shit.
Military veterans who's undergoing medicinal marijuana treatment in Collier County, but he couldn't go to the VA for a prescription. He needed his primary doctor. Bill says marijuana helped him kick his opioid addiction. Nick Garrelay of My Florida Green says patients are also using it to treat PTSD.
Marijuana, being a natural alternative, really helps alleviate the symptoms of PTSD through regulation of anxiety, blood pressure, blood sugar.
Veterans cannot be given medicinal marijuana from their VA doctor, even in Florida where it is legal. A proposal by Senator Bill Nelson would allow them to do so in all states where medicinal marijuana is permitted.
I myself probably would not be in favor of, but for the men and women that do need it, of course I would be in favor of.
But William Carl with the Collier County Veterans Council says he's seen more of his fellow vets come back from overseas suffering from PTSD, depression, and combat-related injuries. Ailments, he says, could be treated with medicinal marijuana.
I do know there is a need out there, and I do know that it's very, very real.
But Garrelay says the process of legalizing medicinal marijuana for the VA may take some time, since marijuana is currently listed as a Schedule I drug at the federal level.
The government would have to deschedule medical marijuana or marijuana before any kind of bill like that could even take place.
A spokes.
Yeah, so that's an issue, the federal law. That's why when it first became legal in certain states, doctors still couldn't write a prescription for it because it's federally illegal.
Yeah. But if you were going to the VA for glaucoma treatment, they would give you a big canister of 500 to 1,000 pre-rolled joints from the government. Yeah, they have their own grow field down in Mississippi. I don't know if it's still there or not.
Yeah.
At Mississippi and Ohio. But that was back when they were passing out Marinol for the glaucoma. And cancer patients, it would help them keep their hunger, their appetite up.
Yeah. Weed's good for that too.
But you get off into that, you get talking into the holistic medicine, which we're finally coming back around to. But Rockefeller set it up to get rid of the holistic medicine. He didn't want the regular people to have it. So here, take my petroleum-based medicines for the rest of your lives. It'll be great. You'll love it. While he had a holistic doctor of his own.
Yep. And that's how, that's about the time that they were also making, they were going against it politically as well. They started calling it marijuana and saying that the Mexican immigrants were smoking it, and that's why it was so dangerous. Like, just because they're Mexican.
Well, because they couldn't scare everybody anymore with the evils of cocaine and the black man.
Yeah.
And then what was it? The Oriental man with the opium.
Opium, yeah.
And the opium dens. Interesting.
Yep. So we got an awful lot of history to go back over.
Hey, John, Dylan said unlock the room for a second.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, it's unlocked. I wasn't going to let him in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just reconsidered.
You need to tell me that shit.
No, that's fine.
I just said shit in your hat, buddy.
Dylan, no message, no nothing, man. What's up?
I am so sorry. I actually overslept. I know my father tried to wake me up beforehand. Next thing I know, I woke up. He's like, "You okay?" I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Main reason I let you in just now is to let you know the next time it happens, I'm keeping the room locked until the show's over.
Okay. Again, I apologize for that, Chuck.
And he's gonna slap you on the pee-pee.
Hey, Chuck. Jim.
Rip the shirt. How cliche.
Yeah. So Dylan's here. Speaking of probes, speaking of anal probes, they're going to probe Comey.
I hope they probe him with something extra big.
Yeah.
Well, remember that doctor was up there today and he pled the fifth.
Oh boy.
Didn't know what a Joe Biden was.
Back to Live Now from Fox, everyone. I am your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us. We come back with some breaking news with Fox and has sources from the DOJ saying that the FBI has launched criminal investigations into John Brennan and James Comey. The former CIA director John Brennan and former FBI director James Comey are under criminal investigation for potential wrongdoing related to the Trump-Russia probe, including allegedly making false statements to Congress. Justice Department source.
I'll bet they don't go back to Hillary Clinton on that.
Probably, yeah.
No, most of that shit's coming up on statute of limitations.
Yeah, actually, some of it was before.
Sources told Fox News Digital. CIA Director John Radcliffe referred evidence of wrongdoing by Brennan to FBI Director Kash Patel for potential prosecution, DOJ sources told Fox News Digital. The sources said that the referral was received and told Fox News Digital that a criminal investigation into Brennan was open and is underway. DOJ sources declined to provide further details. It's unclear at this point if the investigation spans beyond the alleged false statements to Congress. As for Comey, DOJ sources told Fox News Digital that an investigation into the former director is underway, but could not share details of what specifically is being probed. The full scope of the criminal investigations into Brennan and Comey is unclear, but two sources described the FBI's view of the duo's interactions as a, quote, conspiracy, which could open up a wide range of potential prosecution options. The FBI and CIA declined to comment. Neither Brennan nor Comey immediately responded to Fox News Digital's request for comment. The Brennan investigation comes after Radcliffe last week declassified a, quote, lessons learned review of the creation of the 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment, or the ICA. The 2017 ICA alleged Russia sought to influence the 2016 presidential election to help then candidate Donald Trump. But the review found that the process of the ICA's creation was rushed with procedural anomalies and that officials diverted from intelligence standards.
That's the end of that, really. He just goes and speculates a lot more, and what he's speculating is not important. But yeah, like you were saying, most of it is still pursuable. Some of it's not, because it's been like 8 years.
But damn it, it's got to be down in the fucking history books properly.
Yep. Yeah. That'd be nice. Also, when they convicted Trump on 34 felonies, I'm sure they went into when you read appeal.
Yeah.
Right.
Does anybody know how the appeal's going?
Nobody said, because he hasn't been sentenced. They keep calling him a convicted felon. He's not convicted. He has not been sentenced to anything.
Yeah. Big difference.
I wonder if they gave him back that gun that guy made for him.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? He went down to that firearms shop.
Who did that?
What? I can't remember the name of the shop.
Oh, okay. Oh, well. And then here's a little, some of the shit you guys have been seeing about people blaming the West Texas floods on Trump.
Hey, Chuck, it looks like Brian asked a good question.
Whatever happened to the Georgia prosecutions?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does anybody have anything on that?
No, they kind of just dried up, went away.
Huh.
Yeah, they were individually set up, and they were being, kicked. They were kicking the case out of court.
Okay.
that was like, what's her head?
Oh, I remember now. My brain is off tonight.
And there's some of them that went ahead and cop the plea. You don't count, Funyun.
Yeah.
Listen here, you Santa Claus looking mother lover. Don't you start.
Okay.
Wow.
This person here her name's Amalea Panobi. She's a conservative streamer talking about the bullshit that lefties had been doing about the Texas floods.
So as many of you know by now, Central Texas has been experiencing devastating flash floods, which at the point of this recording have claimed 95 lives, many of those lives being children's lives. And what's been unbelievable to see on social media is responses from people saying that Texas deserves this because they're Republican or because they're white or because of who they voted for. And today we're going to show you some of those responses. Let's talk about it. Yeah, you better. All right, guys, so today's topic is a little shocking. It reminds me of some humanity that we have lost along the way in our political divides and just the division that we're experiencing as a country in general. Now, as I said before, Central Texas has been experiencing these devastating flash floods that have taken 95 lives now, and particularly this place called Camp Mystic.
This is 2 days old, by the way, so the count is much higher now.
Is going viral. It's a Christian summer camp for young girls, and 24 of these young girls have lost their lives as they were camping, presumably by a river, when these flash floods came in, without a moment's notice. Now, of course, this is going to be devastating for so many people. I can't imagine what it's like for them to even be experiencing this, to lose your life in the wake of this, and how families are going to respond, peers are going to respond, the community of Central Texas is going to deal with the grief of such loss. What's insane to me, though, is to see people respond to this, see these stories, hear about the devastation, and then they say that this is what Texas deserves, and this is what these individuals, even these little girls, deserved.
I'm going to say it because y'all scary as and I don't give a damn. Them little girls, them people died because of racism, not politics. Boom, I said it. I don't give a. And am I sad? No. Nope. Because more YT people will have to DIE in order for motherfuckers to what? CARE. I said what the I said. I don't give a and minds are here with me. We voted the correct way. You reap what the you sow. Just the night before the flash flood happened, y'all were okay with motherfuckers being stripped away from their motherfucking families and never seeing them again. People being deported. Y'all were okay with that. Be okay with not finding Sarah Lou. Be okay with not finding Billy. Be okay with never seeing them again. Keep that same energy because I'm here for it. I am so here for it. Because I've been reading the comments and the shit y'all be saying. Y'all didn't give a when it was brown people. We sorry that it's white people now, but that's going to happen. This is going to be a repetitive cycle going to happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until y'all get tired. Racism cost y'all more than y'all thought. Racism wrote that line? Racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash.
Yeah, whatever.
You see, Chuck, a person like that was talking about the racism in that video.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse my language, but that bitch doesn't even know what the fuck she's talking about. Because at the end of the day, there's racism. If you look at the facts, there's racism no matter where the fuck you go.
Well, also, America is less racist to black people than almost any other country.
That just proves my point. And yet that person they're saying, oh well, we voted the correct way. This person died because of this. Oh, that person died.
But to compare that to you're illegal. When you get arrested for drunk driving, you don't go to jail with your kids.
Nope.
Exactly.
You know, you can't compare separating an illegal from his family to a natural disaster, killing an unaware kid. Yeah.
No.
That's true, Brett. He added on to what I said about racism. He said even in Africa it's worse.
Dylan is very racist towards me.
Yeah.
No, I am not. I am not.
You need to quit picking on Marcus.
That is a lie. I am not.
Shit.
Speaking of someone that is bullied by you constantly, droning on and on and on and on.
That's because you start having shit.
And
That's
on.
And on.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to show that. I'm trying to guess at what everything that people have already seen, and I don't think there's any more reason to cover any more about the flooding, because everything y'all have seen probably as much as I have. So here's a little bit of shooting. People shooting at ICE agents. They start fireworks outside a detention center, or where there's some building where there's ICE agents inside. They start shooting bottle rockets and shit at it, and then the ICE agents called the cops first to make sure that they were aware of what's going on, and then they go outside to try to deal with these people and start getting shot at. But that doesn't happen until the cop gets there. He's the first one shot.
And come to find out, one of the women that they had arrested in the group, she was caught on the phone telling her old man at home, "Get rid of the anti-Trump shit we've got."
Really?
Yes.
Nah, that's not going to help.
A word of advice: if you're ever in jail, don't say any dirty shit on the phone.
Yeah, it's all recorded.
Oh,
All
that's
conversations through those phones is recorded.
The eyes
Kind of like
always tell
these.
Yeah.
the story. These are the suspects arrested and charged with attempted murder of a federal law enforcement officer after they spent their 4th of July allegedly ambushing officers at the Prairieland ICE Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas.
This was part of an organized attack. It was a planned ambush with the intent to kill ICE corrections officers. Make no mistake, this was not a so-called peaceful protest. It was indeed an ambush.
Tonight, we're getting stunning new details about how they did it. They were clad in black tactical gear. The complaint says the group lured DHS corrections officers outside by shooting fireworks at the detention center building. So agents called 911, and then they went outside to investigate and talk to the suspects. A few minutes later, an Alvarado police officer arrived on the scene. The moment he stepped out of the car, a gunman who was hidden in the woods opened fire, struck him in the neck. At the exact same time, another gunman started shooting at the DHS officers. 20 to 30 rounds from an AR-15 style rifle were shot. Those officers are all blessed to be alive tonight.
Yeah, it was like 2 shot, and both of them are okay now.
Yeah, and the day before there was another attack that they didn't talk about.
Yeah. Was that at McAllen?
Yep.
Yeah, we heard about it here. It's pretty much the same thing, so I only got the video for this one. But
Dirty Rotten Stinkins.
yeah, in this group, hang on a second, let me see. Right there. Where'd he go? Right there. These people, they say there's only 2 of them that are men transitioning to women, these 2 right here. But I really think this one is another one transitioning to female. This one up here with the blonde hair.
They all look like they smell like soy.
They do. Fight ICE terror with class war. What the fuck do they mean by class war?
It's the same bullshit that started back in 1917. Yeah, they just change a few words here and there as they go through time. You know, first we had the women burning bras and shit back in the 60s.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah, well, that was a good protest.
Mm-hmm. That was back when women still shaved their pits.
And they didn't have dicks.
Yep.
I know that's disappointing, Dylan.
Not really.
Can you imagine, though, in another generation or two, they're not going to know that females actually were born without?
Yeah.
They won't know a world without transgenderism.
And here's a little bit about the Epstein case.
Yeah,
what case?
Yeah, exactly.
The FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list.
Flashback. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
Okay, now notice how they worded that. He said the list of the clients, and she just said the file. Basically, she says she was agreeing that the file is on her desk and not the list.
Yeah.
Review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes.
Flashback. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
That's what the attorney.
So that's what that's coming to.
Well, I don't know, man, because remember, Ghislaine Maxwell, in her case, her black book was sealed by the court.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see.
It ain't right.
Oh yeah, NorCal. Talk about. Do y'all remember hearing about a bunch of influencers, liberal influencers that were going to do the Unfuck America tour? They didn't get past the first meeting. Microaggressions.
Oh, I thought they were getting through their shit. What do they call it? Preferred pronouns.
Yeah.
Binary, non-binary bullshit.
Yeah. Well, the one who was not black said something that a black girl didn't want to hear and immediately blamed her of racism. And it all fell apart right then.
Kind of like the Democrat convention.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, Chuck. You know, ever since COVID happened, a lot of people have been getting so offended about
this
what
has been
other
going
people
on
have
for 30
to
years.
say. But then again, like you just said, that's been going on for fucking years. But in that case, it over the years, it's just gotten a lot worse. It's like, you know what? At this point, they just need to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this has been going on. Political correctness was a term back in the late 80s or early 90s.
Yeah. Oh my God. Everything had to be
Life
PG.
went in front of.
Yep.
You know, had Tipper Gore was doing the music. You had who was it? Dee Snider, Elton John, and I forget who else was up in front of Congress when they put the label, warning label on the music, on the CDs and shit.
Yeah.
That was back when Hillary started with political correctness.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Troy.
It takes a village.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, Troy. Nathan.
And I think this one's a little bit more about the what's Comey probe. Comey probe. I'm sorry, it just sounds funny. Oh, let's have some audio.
FBI is set to investigate its former director, James Comey, and former CIA director John Brennan over their involvement in the Trump-Russia probe, according to sources at the Justice Department. Brennan is under investigation for lying to Congress, saying that he had nothing to do with the Steele dossier. Reports indicate that Brennan's top 2 CIA officers warned the director it's a conspiracy. But Brennan allegedly pushed hard for them to use the dossier as an argument in their report anyway. Now, as for Comey, reports say that he knew that the probe originally came from the Clinton campaign, and still allegedly used it to both smear and investigate President Trump, a story that the mainstream media ran with for 2 years. Watch this.
This cloud about collusion with Russia will hang over him no matter where he stands.
It does look like he's listening to Putin more than he is American intelligence.
We're about to find out if the new president of our country is going to do what Russia wants. The presidency is effectively a Russian op.
I'm sorry, does Maddow ever tell the truth?
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Will they tell you, though, that John Kennedy was having to call Nikita Khrushchev on the regular to find out what the CIA was doing to him?
No. They won't say that. They won't mention it.
Is a Russian operative.
Amazing, right? So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt joined Primetime last night, saying the administration is now ready to prosecute the deep state. Watch this.
Both of these disgraceful individuals turned against our Constitution and our country, and I'm sure they did, in fact, lie to Congress, and it's up to the Department of Justice to investigate that and to prosecute them if they did. And what we have seen is corruption at the highest levels against President Trump. The deep state threw everything at him to prevent him from coming back to this big, beautiful White House behind me, and he prevailed.
All right. Emily, let me start with you. You go back and you look at the testimony of Brennan, the CIA director, repeatedly saying that he believed that the dossier should be part of the investigation and then shouldn't be part of it, depending on whether he was behind closed doors or in front of them, right? And that is the nexus, it looks like, that John Ratcliffe, the current CIA director, believes could prove that he was lying. He lied to Congress in a closed-door investigation. So where do you see this going?
I see there being clearly grounds for an investigation. And I actually see, if I have faith in anyone, it's this administration to see it fully through. Now, we know that Comey, too, downplayed the reliance on the dossier and overstated the cooperation. And then, as you just said, Brennan essentially said, oh, we didn't rely on the dossier at all for that intelligence community assessment. But I was so disheartened as an American to read what has now been declassified in that page-and-a-half footnote, for example, talking about that the good Americans at the CIA and other intelligence apparati that said, look, we have low confidence. There's not corroboration here. This doesn't pass muster. The credibility is poor. And yet to see that there was an insistence on including it in something that became paramount and drove a media vehicle, a public uproar vehicle that drove this narrative that was entirely false. It goes so much beyond politicization. But here legally, obviously, intent is key. Context matters. And precedent is
No, context only matters to people who want to know the truth.
Exactly.
But rare. So I think, however, that the grounds, should all of these allegations prove to be true, with all of these corroborations, which, again, with this declassified information, certainly resoundingly support that, and these guys have a lot to answer for, because it seems like, indeed, they knowingly lied before Congress of exactly their involvement and exactly why and what drove them to include this falsities into something that became such a crux for our political theater.
You know, Joe, I think about the media, and I think about Ben Rhodes, I believe it was, saying, we sort of look for this cycle between the press and what we have our folks saying who are in the inside, right? And it creates this nexus where everybody is believing this whole environment of this Russia collusion that really did fall apart under the Mueller investigation. I mean, just to boil it down, the question is, the CIA director and the FBI director, were they colluding on their own to create an environment where they built this narrative about Russia collusion and they kept feeding it from every direction in order to block the Trump administration?
I think we could answer that question definitively by looking at the way that James Comey,
the head of the FBI, former head of the FBI, fired, and James Clapper, who was the head of the DNI, and then obviously John Brennan, head of the CIA. What did they do after they left their positions or were fired?
This is good.
Let's see. We had Brennan went to MSNBC, where you literally can't tell the difference between him and Rachel Maddow in terms of his analysis. Clapper is signed by CNN. Same reason. How much anti-Trump stuff can you give us on Russia as possible? James Comey wrote 2 anti-Trump books, got a Showtime series in his honor, and then he's playing with seashells on the beach, calling for the elimination of the president. So based on
that's kind of fucked up. 86-47. So Devin, stop touching yourself.
This is a family-friendly show.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, hell. And he's just out there selling seashells by the seashore, and that just popped up, and he thought it was so fucking cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No. No. Jeez. No, let's not. Let's see.
Devin, stop being nasty, you nasty, sick bastard.
You shouldn't be such a damn tease.
I'm not you, JT.
Thank God.
Yeah, well, somebody had to say it.
Fucking Jim.
So, yeah. Bongino, Bondi, Kash Patel, they were all saying before they got into office that they want to get to the bottom of the Epstein thing, and now that they are in the position, there's nothing to look at. They're fake. Oh, okay.
Everybody wants to say it's all fake and funny, but what if there really was none left? It was destroyed by Merrick Garland and his little minions.
That's possible. That's possible.
But it still doesn't smell right, you know?
No. No. But that's why they brought the Comey thing up so quickly. They want to cover all that up with what's going on with Comey and Renner or whatever.
Yeah.
With Stewie. Look at me! Look at me!
Look what I can do. Stewart. Oh, man. I forget the name of that Coast Guard. There was a petty officer from the Coast Guard who was pulling kids out of the water, and they set him down to do triage at Camp Mystic, and that way they could get more people in the helicopter to rescue. And he did the triage there at Camp Mystic, and they did an interview with him, and he was trying to tell them, it's not just me, it's the rest of my team too, and so many other people. But they kept saying, you're a hero, you're a hero. And he's like, I'm doing my job. This is what I joined the Coast Guard to do.
Yeah.
I tell you.
That's kind of like.
Go ahead.
That's kind of like Cal Ripken when he retired from baseball. I was just doing my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And I pick on the Coast Guard some, the knee-deep Navy, shit like that.
Yeah.
But they're the ones who keep most of the drugs out of our country.
Bastards.
And they get the dumb boaters that decide that, I can go sailing in a Category 3 hurricane.
Oh, shit.
Or I can make it to America in these 2 pieces of wood.
Yeah.
But then, excuse me a second.
Don't.
Okay. It's be on the lookout for a certain person who injured a cop. He's not in this area. He's in it's in Alvarado. They were calling it
thought
Alvarado.
Was he about this tall? Was he about this tall and had a red hoodie on?
Yeah.
Had a red hoodie?
Yeah.
You mean an uncircumcised cock?
Well, we don't like to talk about him like that, but if we have to.
So,
You kidding me? Jim thinks I look like an uncircumcised dick with the hood on.
Yeah. Hey, Jim.
Hey, yeah.
You have a joke for us?
Well, you know, I might. Let's see.
Is
There's this kid down East Maine. He finds himself in Florida, and he needs a job. So he goes to one of these everything under one
Happy
roof
Hippie
kind of
tipped
department
$6.90.
And
Trump
walks
is our
up to the
president.
manager and says, "Hey, man," he says, "I need a job." Manager says, "Well, you got any sales experience?" He goes, "Dude," he says, "I can sell ice cubes to Eskimos." Manager says, "All right, I'll give you a try." He says, "You start tomorrow morning. I'll check with you after we close and see how you did." So he starts, and the store closes. Manager comes up. He says, "So how'd you do? How many customers did you help today?" Boy says, "Well, I only helped one." Manager looks at him and says, "One?" He says, "Our average salesperson does 20, 30 customers a day." He goes, "Boy," he says, I thought you said you were better than this." He goes, "What was your sales for the day?" He goes, $101,000, 237.65. He goes, "Huh?" Well, he goes, "Yeah, 101,000, 237,000. He goes, "What'd you sell him?" He goes, "Well, first I sold him a small fish hook." He says, "Then I sold him a medium fish hook. Then I sold him a large fish hook, and then I told him he needs a new fishing rod." So we walked over and got him a new fishing rod, a new reel. And I asked him where he's going to go fishing. He says, "Down on the coast." I said, "Well, damn, you're going to need a boat for that." We walked down to the boating department, and I sold him that dual twin-engine Boston Whaler. He goes, and then he says, "Well, I don't know if my Honda Civic will pull that." He said, "I took him down to automotive. I sold him that brand new F-250. The manager says, "The man come in for a fish hook, and you sold him a boat and a truck?" He goes, "No. Guy come in for tampons." And I said, "Well, your weekend's shot. You might as well go fishing."
Holy fuck.
Thanks for the tip, Hippie. Appreciate it, man. Everybody, thanks for showing up tonight. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the tips. And damn it, let me get the Zoom link. This thing's not working again.
And Dylan going to take us out with his new dance steps.
Oh, yeah.
What dance steps?
Y'all have a good night. Thanks for coming by.
Don't be a
God
dick.
bless. Say a prayer for America.
Be nice to each other. Stay classy.
Get off my lawn.